Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, and things adjacent. Often a question that I ask myself almost daily whilst doing this channel is why do this channel? What's the point of pointing out that things are really bad? And sometimes I really have to search for answers. It's part of it is kind of just a compulsion to talk about it, a compulsion to recognize it somehow in the world, because it's difficult to recognize, in my daily life, in my, normal life. And it's hard to get past the feelings of, well, there's a feeling of like hopelessness or despair, or maybe just what's the point of it all? I see people out there, living life and enjoying their lives and making strides and being happy in their careers or their marriages or their whatever. I feel, I don't know what the feeling is, but I get a feeling of just like enjoy it while it lasts. It's a mirage. I'm happy for you, but it's, and I don't know. Part of me feels like I'm engaging in some Schadenfreude or some, but it's not that. It's just the knowledge that, at some point, this normalcy is going to be done. And so, I often wonder why I'm doing this channel, because this channel seems to be disrupting my normalcy. I do live a normal life. I do, all the things that everybody else does. And I actually aspire to reach goals or climb certain mountains or reach some artistic proficiency, even journalistic proficiency with this channel. I aspire to, do well with those things and make those things good. However, the fact that I'm doing this channel actually kind of gets in the way of the aspirations, any other aspirations beside this channel. It's just a weird thing. So, yeah, I some days I really struggle with it. And today might be one of those days. That being said, like, do what you want to do what you like to do, enjoy yourself. Enjoy life to the fullest, while it's still normal. I can't help but just see the signs that things are breaking down. And they're still kind of on the fringes. Right now, when we have a major extreme weather event or something, people just go, oh, that's weird. Oh, yeah, I was with some customers yesterday, and they were like, oh, I was just on the East Coast, this winter, and it was crazy, 40-degree swings in one day. I was like, I didn't even want to open my mouth. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's really weird, guys. In my mind, I was like, those 40-degree swings are happening all over the globe. They're happening in places where they're not supposed to be happening. Eventually, those 40-degree swings will bring about some kind of devastation to your very normal NCAA basketball watching lives. And it pains me to say that. It bums me out. Bummer. It's very depressing. but people should probably realize, you know, why they're doing what they're doing, and what are the motivations behind what they're doing. What are the actual goals that you might think that you can achieve in a certain amount of time? um do you want to spend a lot of time away from your family, or do you want to I'm actually struggling with a lot of debt right now, and I'm like, do I want to spend a lot? I'm actually doing the right thing. I'm being a responsible adult human being. I'm paying down my debt. um and a part of me just wants to be like, kick out all those, just default on all the loans, and stop worrying about the debts that you don't have to worry about, and just enjoy your life. Like, stop working so much. I can't get myself to do that. I really can't. And and I actually, I wouldn't get rid of that much. There are some things that I just can't get out of. There's just no way. So I'm stuck. Um, I'm stuck doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing right by my creditors. I'm doing right by my family. I'm doing right by the people around me. That's what I'm doing with, the next year or 2 years of my life. And I don't know if that's going to be the last 1 or 2 years of my life. Who knows? um, but it sucks to think that, I'll just spend a lot of time working, and um, not being able to do a lot of the things that other people are doing, or enjoying things that I want to enjoy because I'm buried under debt. I don't know. At some point, somebody said, like, yeah, I can't wait for the collapse to come so we can just, if economic collapse does come, that's when I'm skipping. I'll do what I can while I can, but if things fall apart, I'm just going to let them fall all the way apart, and just, uh, do other things with my time. That's all. That was a long little rant there at the beginning. So let's see. Let's start with this from CBS News, April 3rd, 2019. Climate change has caused an 89% decrease in new coral in the Great Barrier Reef. Study finds global warming has caused such extensive damage to the Great Barrier Reef that scientists say its coral may never recover. According to a study published Wednesday in the journal Nature, baby coral in Australia's Great Barrier Reef declined by 89% due to mass bleaching in 2016 and 2017. And I'm just going to add, as with any other declines or any other extreme situations, when people are talking about drought or warmer temperatures, all of this is going to continue to get worse. Nothing is going to plateau or suddenly spin around on a dime and get better. It's just not going to happen. We're not on that trajectory, and there's nothing that we're doing that's going to get in the way of things getting worse, unless the planet has some insane negative feedback, in store for us, and that we aren't aware of, and no scientists on the whole planet are aware of it. Unless there's anything happening like that that's beyond our purview as a human species, everything is going to get worse very, very quickly. That's how it's going. The study measured the number of surviving adult corals in the Great Barrier Reef, the world's largest reef system, following extreme heat stress, as well as how many new corals it was able to replenish in 2018. Deadly back-to-back bleaching events devastated the reef, and now its ecosystem is struggling to recover, and it will not recover. It will not recover. That's what's going to happen. Not only have ocean heat waves led to a dramatic decrease in new coral, but also a change in the types of coral species being produced. Researchers studied adult and baby coral from 47 locations in various years, from 1996 to 2016, then returned to the reef in 2018 to collect the same data. They found that a majority of the northern region's coral has not been able to recover following mass bleaching events, leading to a decline in new coral as well. Dead corals don't make babies. The study's lead author, Professor Terry Hughes, director of the ARC Center of Excellence for Coral Reef Studies at James Cook University, said in a press release. According to the study, the biggest decline in replenishment came from the reef's dominant species of adult coral called Acropora, which supports thousands of other species. It experienced a 93% drop. How close to 100 can we get? Compared to previous years, the change is likely to reduce the reef's overall diversity, which will make it even less resilient to future bleaching events. Our study shows that reef resilience is now severely compromised by global warming. The Great Barrier Reef, which stretches for more than 1,400 miles off the coast of Australia, has gone through 4 mass bleaching events due to above average sea temperatures in 1998, 2002, 2016, and 2017. Oh, those last 2 years were really close together. Time periods between future bleaching events are expected to continue to shrink. As global warming intensifies, it's highly likely that we could escape a 5th or 6th event in the coming decade. Highly unlikely. That we could escape a 5th or 6th event in the coming decade, or how about in the coming 2 years or next year? We used to think the Great Barrier Reef was too big to fail until now. Moving on to something from Zero Hedge. A mysterious drug-resistant germ deemed an urgent threat is quietly sweeping the globe. Horrors. This is from April 6, 2019. Thanks to the overprescription of antimicrobial drugs and use of anti-fungicides in crop production, a relatively new germ that preys on people with weakened immune systems is rapidly spreading across the globe, according to the New York Times. So this is basically, reprinted from the New York Times. The infection, a fungus known as Candida auris, kills almost half of all patients who contract it within 90 days, according to the CDC. Whoa. It's as impervious to most major antifungal medications, first described in 2009. After a 70-year-old Japanese woman showed up at a Tokyo hospital with C. auris in her ear canal, the aggressive yeast infection has spread across Asia and Europe, arriving in the U.S. by 2016. Wow. The earliest known case in the United States involved a woman who arrived at a New York hospital on May 6, 2013, seeking care for respiratory failure. She was 61 and from the United Arab Emirates, and she died a week later after testing positive for the fungus. At the time, the hospital hadn't thought much of it, but 3 years later, it sent the case to the CDC after reading the agency's June 2016 advisory. So they've had one case in California, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, or a couple more in Florida, 25 in Florida, and 100 in Illinois, Indiana, 100 in the New Jersey, Maryland, New York area, 200, well, actually make that 200 or 300 in that area in the Northeast. So it is a creature from the Black Lagoon, said the CDC's Dr. Tom Chiller, who heads the fungal branch. It bubbled up and now it is everywhere. In the last 5 years alone, it has swept through a hospital in Spain, hit a neonatal unit in Venezuela, spread throughout India, Pakistan, and South Africa, and forced a prestigious British medical center to close its ICU for nearly 2 weeks. By the end of June 2016, a scientific paper reported an ongoing outbreak of 50 C. auris cases at Royal Brompton, and the hospital took an extraordinary step. It shut down its ICU for 11 days, moving intensive care patients to another floor, again with no announcement. Days later, the hospital finally acknowledged to a newspaper that it had a problem. A headline in the Daily Telegraph warned, intensive care unit closed after deadly new superbug emerges in the UK. Later, research said there were eventually 72 total cases, though some patients were only carriers and were not infected by the fungus. Okay. Last man, elderly man who was admitted to the Brooklyn branch of the Mount Sinai Hospital for abdominal surgery was found to be infected with the drug-resistant Candida. He died after 90 days in the hospital. However, C. auris did not, according to the Times. Oh, I don't know. Oh, C. auris did not die. He died. The superbug did not die. According to the tests, the germ was everywhere in his room to such a degree that the hospital required special cleaning equipment and had to rip out ceiling and floor tiles to get rid of it. Everything was positive. The walls, the bed, the doors, the curtains, the phones, the sink, the whiteboard, the poles, the pump. Said hospital president Dr. Scott Lauren, the mattress, the bed rails, the canister holes, the window shades, the ceiling, everything in the room was positive. Why is this happening? Simply put, fungi are evolving defenses to resist and survive modern medications. Well, yes. There are also some other antibiotic resistant diseases that run around hospitals other than this. And that's widely known. That's been known for a long time. It's an enormous problem, said Imperial College of London fungal epidemiology professor Matthew Fisher, who co-authored a recent scientific review on the rise of resistant fungi. We depend on being able to treat those patients with antifungals. Somehow it made a jump almost, let me see. The CDC investigators theorized that C. auris started in Asia and spread across the globe. But when the agency compared the entire genome of auris samples from India and Pakistan, Venezuela, South Africa, and Japan, it found that its origin was not a single place and there was not a single auris strain. The genome sequencing showed that there were 4 distinctive versions of the fungus with differences so profound that they suggested that these strains had diverged thousands of years ago and emerged as resistant pathogens from harmless environmental strains in 4 different places at the same time. Whoa. Hello. Let's see. We have no idea where it's coming from. We've never heard of it. It just spreads like wildfire. While the Brompton Hospital case did make headlines, the issue remained largely out of the spotlight internationally, despite an even larger outbreak in Valencia, Spain, occurring at virtually the same time at the 992-bed hospital Universitario Polytechnic La Fe. Unknown to the public or unaffected patients, 372 people had become colonized with the germ, meaning it was on their bodies, but they had not yet contracted it. Of those, 85 patients developed bloodstream infections, and 41% of those died within 30 days. Wow. While other prominent strains of Candida have not developed significant resistance to drugs, over 90% of C. auris infections are resistant to at least one drug, while 30% are resistant to 2 or more drugs. Scary stuff. Lastly, some more uplifting news from the Big Fluffy Jamboree Hour. Where are we at on the CO2 equivalent ratio? There was some talk of this in the comment section, or I was talking about in the last video that CO2 levels are at 411, 412, 414 in other places of the planet, and they're much higher. But there's CO2 measurements, and then there's CO2 equivalent. So that's CO2 plus all the other gases that are greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And what's really in the atmosphere as far as what do we have the equivalent of CO2 in the atmosphere? And the answer is close to 500 parts per million, because we have methane, we have nitrous oxide, we have CFCs, HCFCs, HFC, and they're all, despite the chlorofluorocarbon, which seem to be plateauing and going down a little bit. Everything else is going up, 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 up. NOAA ESRL posts an annual greenhouse gas index by setting a simple, understandable way to measure the warming influence of long-lived trace gases and track changes each year. The AGGI was designed to bridge the gap in understanding of changes in greenhouse gases that exists between scientists and the public. The gap is large. The AGGI is directly proportional to the direct warming influence climate forcings of the GHGs in the index. The index quantifies the global climate forcings of CO2, CH4, and nitrous oxide, N2O, CFC12, CFC11, and 15 minor GHGs. And I don't know if they include water vapor in there also. In 2014, the five main GHGs accounted for about 96% of climate forcings by long-lived GHGs since 1750, the pre-industrial baseline used by the IPCC. The remaining 15 minor halogenated gases contributed about 4%. The index is based on measurements of long-lived greenhouse gases, and NOAA states the index contains little uncertainty. Changes in the AGGI are reported from 1979 until present. The index uses 1990 as a baseline year with the value of 1. The index increased every year until present. Every year since 1979. The chart below shows the similar trajectory of, I lost it. Similar trajectory of CO2 in the AGGI. So yeah, the AGGI puts us at like 460, probably 475, with CO2 plus non-CO2 GHGs at very close to 500. What does that mean? That means everything's going to get hot real fast. That's what that means in layman's terms. The heat will keep on getting hotter, continue to rise, and continue to cause the problems that it has already started causing. And it's not going to be good. There's nobody really knows how to stop it. There's no, we can mask, we can spray aerosols and, whatever else it is that they're talking about doing. But is that going to keep the planet from heating up? Most likely not. I mean, we've already pumped. There's already so much heat in the oceans that, and it's going to come out eventually, because once they stop absorbing the carbon, they're going to, once they stop being able to absorb heat, they're going to release heat, and then it gets hotter and it gets more hot. That's where it's going, unfortunately. But hey, why not try to do something about it? If there's a way, if you have any ideas, anybody with ideas, anybody with a plan? There's a few people with a plan. Extinction Rebellion, they have a plan, or at least trying to start a plan. There's people talking about a Green New Deal. Most likely not enough of a plan to actually thwart what's coming our way, but a start is good. A start is maybe a snowball that gets bigger and rolls downhill and gathers steam. But you already know where this is heading, because the snowball that we're trying to fight is already really big. It's already been rolling downhill for 200 years, and it's really big. It's massive. So we're going to have to figure out how to stop that snowball. I welcome all comments and all ideas on that, and y'all discuss below. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.